Jensen Huang recently said, I wish terrible suffering upon you. You cannot be developed but unfit country.
Fitness adoption has always been a challenge in any country. It's honestly boring. The repetitive motion of lifting a mass up and down, I did not think dance would be the most popular format, to be very honest.
What can cult do to become better?
What can cult do that nobody else can do? Today there isn't competition. There is cult and then there is a lot of unorganized players. AI adoption is going to make me
Naresh, welcome to SparX.
Thank you.
You realize, this has a potential of turning into on-air performance review for you. Because, I'm, I'm obviously happy with cult is, but I keep thinking about, the things which are not there. I'm worried that a lot of them might come up in the conversation, so be forewarned. But I want to start with, I was just, as I was thinking about this conversation, and we'll talk about culture of fitness in India, role that cult is playing. I just realized that it is, if you go back to January 22, it's just over 3 years. So let's start there. There was an entire 2020-21. Cult was continuously on the verge of near death.
Yeah.
And last 3 years have been phenomenal. I think, everything is firing on all cylinders. How do you think, those couple of years shaped? Do you think like how we operate today, there was something, that near-death, multiple near-death experience. Did they change how we operate today?
Yeah, and for sure, I think it made us grittier. It also made us more thankful for where we stand today because we have seen worse days. While it was a time of crisis, I think I remember most of the time still feeling excited. And that was what I think we successfully managed to do in the company. At that time, of course, digital fitness was really taking off. We had a very fortuitous position that we had a very good product out there that customers were loving. So most of that time, I remember being extremely excited that something is changing in the world and something might change in a big way in fitness, and we could be at the forefront of that. So I think while a crisis, is a time to show grit, it's a time to show mental fortitude. I think what we were able to do very well is, break away from that and actually create genuine excitement in the company. So I think that held us through for a long period of time. And then I think it also taught us, to be a lot more frugal, to be a lot more precise with what we are trying to do after that, and just be grateful for the opportunity that we have in front of us. So for sure, I think most of the folks that were there before COVID, at least in senior management, still stuck around. So they all have good story to tell, I guess, about how those times were.
Yeah, I think this is reminding me of Jensen Huang. Recently, in one of his talks, he said, something along the lines of, "I wish terrible misery upon you," or "I wish terrible suffering upon you," and which sounds bizarre, but his point was that some learnings can only be had that way when you go through, those. So while you can't really wish, those kind of catastrophic crises, but sometimes, they are almost like godsend. And if you can manage to survive and reinvent, which I think we did, Cult is very different company now, much stronger company as a result of that experience. Whether I'll still wish one more near-death experience, I'm not sure. But I guess we can be ready at least, if it were to happen and make the most of it. I'm Naresh. I know you are a avid soccer player, or I guess football. You don't like people saying soccer, I guess, right? So avid football player. Somewhere, it's also related to this culture of sports and fitness in the company that in some ways I think forms the backbone of what cult is. One of our core values has always been nurture your mind and body.
Yeah.
How are things on that front? And why, as I'm saying the question, I'm recalling, even, you and I worked together at Mintra as well. And I think we went out of our way during winter days to really encourage people to experience the joy of fashion.
Yeah.
Looking good, getting their personal styling shoot done and all of that.
Yeah.
How do you think, where are we in terms of the culture of being active within, this cult employee base?
I think it's very prevalent. I think the first thing is that, employees join us young. So they're typically, not unfit when they join us. And there's just a lot of inspiration around. We may think it's a corporate headquarters, but we have a bunch of trainers that work out of there. We have fitness experts, etc. So just the access to those kind of experts is number one. The second thing is, I think it is one of the primary HR agendas for us, right? I think what can we be unique at with respect to culture? Like, people can build, high performance cultures, culture of frugality, all of these things. What can Cult do that nobody else can do, which is foster a culture of movement, a community within the company that encourages each other. You join no one's going to spend, the average tenure in any startup will be somewhere in that 2 to 4 year mark, right? And what lasting impression, legacy can the company leave on an employee? I've always believed that for us, it has to be fitness. If somebody leaves in a better health state than when they joined, I think that's a great job done by the company. Second is, I think I find sports teams and work teams fairly similar. It's both are goal oriented, both require hard work, it requires teamwork. So I feel, when employees engage in activities outside of office, which is not drinking or things like that, it does build bonds. People meet each other, meet folks from departments that they probably never work with. So we have a very active culture. We have a bunch of sports clubs, religiously practice every week. The company, books facilities, books trainers for those sessions. We have, communities that go to the gym together, that work out together, do classes together, etc. I think it's been a huge plus. It is something that employees really look forward to. They feel that, with the organization pushing so much on this, they find it just very easy to live a certain lifestyle. And it's not about saying that, you have to work out, or you have to do this, right? There's a bunch of different things you can do. You can play sports. Yeah. There's a group that runs every Sunday morning. There's a group that, the 10,000 steps group, that just is tracking every day how many people are getting close to that, etc. It's something that, I personally, gain a lot of joy out of. And I think it's just one of those unique things that only we can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the direction eventually I feel a lot of corporates do need to take. Inordinate amounts of, resources go in companies in organizing, one-off offsites, these, Diwali gift hampers, etc. I think that money and that effort is better spent when you get employees to do something together. Fitness is one of them. It doesn't have to always be fitness for every company, but I feel, that's a direction that I feel eventually what we're doing in the company, we can take to the corporate world. So it's something that I draw a lot of pride out of.
No, it's amazing. I think, as you're saying, this is a very unique thing that Cult can offer to its employees. I think most places, you can learn something, you can get a promotion and whatnot, maybe good colleagues.
Yeah.
But usually it comes at the expense of good health.
Yeah.
If you are able to enable that for the people who work here, where, they grow in career, but shed some kilos by the time they leave the company, as well as acquire the habit of fitness for their life, I think it's going to be phenomenal contribution. I think to your point about corporates, I know a lot of CEOs these days think a lot about employee wellness, fitness, trying to promote a culture of activity. What can Cult do? Like this whole program, we call internally org.fit. Are there any plans to take it? Like if, let's say, I'm a CEO of a large company, 5,000 employees, 10,000 employees, and I really want people in my company to become active, become fit.
Yeah.
How can I partner with Cult to get these programs implemented within my company and get participation from employees?
Yeah, I think we do a lot of this with corporates as is. So there are certain corporates that engage us year round to just organize events, to keep participation going among employees, create these clubs, so to speak. I think more and more, I think, as you said, CEOs and senior executives are themselves experiencing fitness. They're seeing improved performance, improved mental health from it, and they want this. But it's also not easy. I think we managed to do it because there is the identity of Cult as a fitness company. There are many evangelists, and me being number one, right? So it's not very easy to do. It needs to get productized a lot more. It's not just as simple as the CEO just coming out and saying something in the company and just things will just follow suit. A lot of things need to be productized. The whole creation of communities, tracking of activities across employees, booking facilities, all of these. We're really attempting to productize this, make it easy so that, it's something that can be plug and play in other companies. I wouldn't say we're there yet. I think today it does take a lot of intent from senior management to get this done in the company. But for this to just become just, ingrained and happen like clockwork, I think needs some work. And as that happens, I have no doubt that.
Is this an active program for us? And I was thinking, I'm putting my product hat on and thinking, if all this is packaged well, and if a company signs up and there's a whole year around program for participation from all the way from the senior management to grassroots, and active encouragement, motivation, competition. We have this very popular fit games. I'll come to that in a second. Like this whole thing, I think a lot of companies will find it very interesting, and everything you're saying about building team spirit, getting to know people from other departments, and just being active, discovering the joy of being active. A lot of people, nearly everyone plays sports till their college years, and slowly fizzles out. But these things allow you to get back into some of the sports that you may like.
Absolutely. So I think, like I said, I think no one will say that this is not useful. I think the complexity of executing this year round and having it, having a healthy amount of participation is the challenge, which is where I think, we can come in. But again, in wearing the product manager's hat, it's not just going to be, sending 5 people to a company and then having them just do activities with brute force. It has to become in some way productized. So I think that's the journey we are in, and I hope to be able to launch this in a big way to corporates soon. We do a lot today, but I think the intensity with which it happens in Cult is something that today executing it in a bunch of corporates is non-trivial. So I think that's something that I think we do need.
And the internal culture of sports and fitness culminates into the annual Fit Games. And last 2 years I've seen after Fit Games pretty much people walking around with a cast and bruise. And it's like get extremely competitive and intense. But that's fine, I guess, as a part of fitness and sports journey to really push yourself and see how far you can go. So probably a good thing. And injuries, I guess, part and parcel of sports journey. In preparation for this episode, Naresh, the team here asked a bunch of questions online from generally people who are Cult users, Cult fans. Some of the questions they want to cover. So one of them on the top of the list was, why are dance classes always completely full? Why there is a 3-4 day period? What can we do about that? Is this, on one hand, dance classes have incredible energy. I think they are the most popular format. And people have a blast, but looks like there's insatiable demand for more and more people want to go to dance.
I mean, the only answer is just keep opening more and more supply, keep adding more and more classes. I think unfortunately we're constantly behind on that. I mean, supply always trails demand, but it's just the energy is so infectious in a dance class, right? Like when I joined Cult, I did not think dance would be the most popular format, to be very honest, but having experienced it firsthand, it's a great kind of, lowest common denominator. A really fit person can do it, a really not fit person can do it, men can do it, women can do it, old people can do it, young people can do it. And especially with Bollywood music, it just unlocks a sense of energy among customers that I have honestly not seen before inside a gym. It is just feverish. Sometimes the members take over the class. The trainer is like, hey, I'm trying to give instructions here. They are, doing their own steps. Sometimes they're hooting. It's a scene. I mean, availability in those classes is a problem to be solved, but I think we're indeed blessed that, it's things like these, eventually, Mukesh, that I think will build fitness, right? The repetitive motion of lifting a mass up and down, it's honestly boring, and we all do it because we see functional benefits from it. But that's not what we wake up in the morning really looking forward to do in the day, right? It's things like this, sports, even our strength classes are done in a super sort of engaging and fun way. I think the future lies there. How do you just make fitness something that something is fun while doing, right? Which historically hasn't been the case, which is why, fitness adoption has always been a challenge in any country or any demographic that you see. I think it's things like these that really unlock the joy in fitness, and it's a sight to behold.
I think outside of all the shadi celebrations, right? This is the only socially acceptable way for people to dance their heart out and
without alcohol.
without alcohol,
Yeah.
yeah, even that also not that easily accessible, and you have to go to odd hours and all of that,
Correct.
club, but this is available all day, and pretty good also part of gender mix as well. I think is almost 60-40 between men and women. That's
60 women, 40 men in dance classes, but that's still good 15-20 men in every class. I've actually experienced that they just let go of all inhibitions. Some steps can look a little weird when you're doing it. I mean, people just don't care. They don't care what they look like when they're doing it. They don't care like that the other person is doing it a lot better than them. They just let go, and I think that's a beautiful sight. And sometimes just to feel better about what I'm doing on a bad day at work, like I just walk into a dance class and it just cheers me up immediately, and that's the joy of
maybe I should have listened to the team. They were saying that maybe as part of this episode, you and I should attend a dance class and get some footage from that.
Yeah.
And maybe we still have time, we'll invite a couple of other people from Cult as well. So
sure,
maybe why not? We have so many centers in HSR layout, near our office, or maybe we'll try.
I might struggle to speak with a mic on while doing the dance.
No, that is we'll just participate in the dance class and let's see. It's been a while since I've done one, but maybe there's a good nudge to get back to that. I think you mentioned fitness penetration in India, and that's something that has bothered me from the early days of Cult. I think when we started, I think if my numbers are correct, there were maybe about 2.5-3 million fitness goers in India at the time, 2016, which is obviously abysmally low. And even right now, the number is somewhere between 7-8 million. If you push it, maybe 10 million.
10 million,
in that range, right? Which is, just to do the translation numbers, 10 million is 1 crore. Our population is now the world's most populous country, 145 crores. And I think adding almost 1.5 crores people every year. So that, 1 crore number is just abysmally small. I also think, Cult has definitely played its role in growing that number.
Yeah.
I don't know how much to attribute it, but if it's 10 million, I'm willing to say at least, 15-20% increase because of what we have done in terms of increasing supply footprint, evangelization, format innovation.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts now? Like, on one hand, I think demand is so much, whatever gyms we are able to build, we keep getting their demand, which is great for business. But what can we do to dramatically extend? How do you go from 1 crore to 5 crore people who are active gym goer, which by the way still going to be a very small number, but it'll be a start.
Yeah, I think one path is, we continue doing what we're doing, right? I mean, that will take the number somewhere, but I don't think that will dramatically change the equation. One thing which probably we don't want, given that we have vested interest in our company, is competition. I mean, today there isn't competition. There is Cult, and then there is a lot of unorganized players, right? Eventually, competition does need to come in. It'll be good for us to have competition, and it'll be good for customers to have a lot more choice as well. The number of gyms India has, across 2 players in the US, they have that many gyms in the US. Mm-hmm. So I think competition coming in will help. And I think the entire ecosystem, there are many actors here, right? I think there is the government. I mean, government talks about Fit India. Yoga is something that the PM endorses, but can the government do something really substantive over here and contribute to the increase in just good quality gyms, or the financially incentivize customers to be healthier? That is one. I think we spoke about corporates. Corporates can play a significant role. I mean, you spend 8 hours of the day in a company, so that organization has a large influence on what you do in the day. So the influence corporates can have through programs or through, there are certain companies right now that have created part of their performance incentive as, whether you're reaching your health goals or not. That can be significant. I think the role that celebrities are playing is significant. Sportsmen, actors, and other people, even executives now, are becoming role models for fitness. I think all of these things need to come together, and there has to be someone championing this cause for decades, right? Again, to be able to do that, Cult needs to be in a position where we can think decade long or 2 decades long, which is which is the right that we need to earn for ourselves, which I think we are doing. So I think all of these things need to come together, but I have no doubt that it will happen. I cannot envision a future where it doesn't happen. Why will 15 years down the line, India's fitness penetration remain under 1% when many countries are well in the double digits? I don't see a reason why. There's nothing else that, no other global trend that India has just not caught on. So it will happen. I think it's a question of being patient. I don't think this is a hyperscale industry. It is not something that can just turn around in a few years, but it will happen over time. And the role technology can play in this, right? I think all things said and done, I think even today, machines are just mass and gravity. Where is it's mechanical engineering largely, right? I don't think computer science has come into it. I don't think electronics engineering has come into it. A lot of technology, influence into fitness can play a large role here as well. And I know you are, obviously, at the intersection of both. I think I would love to hear your thoughts as well on where do you think technology can really disrupt the, just the wave of adoption.
I think, the way AI is growing, I feel like even the word disruption doesn't do justice to this anymore. Some days I literally get goosebumps about the pace of progress, and I feel like, I don't know what's a right phrase, like, I don't know, like positive FOMO in some ways.
Yeah.
I feel like, this is a time where we just need to all call timeout.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, using maybe a bad analogy, let's say there is a nuclear bomb somewhere, then I'm pretty sure all of us stop what we are doing.
Absolutely.
And take stock of what is doing. Or when pandemic happened, we didn't stop everything we were doing.
Yeah.
I think AI is getting better at that fast pace, but somehow, a lot of us are not getting the memo yet, that how profound it is, how radically it's going to change pretty much everything about society, about personal productivity, about how businesses are run. And it applies to in health and fitness. And starting, just few top of mind thoughts is, I think today GPT is probably or equivalent, LMs are best possible health coach one can have.
Yeah.
Like today, whatever my health concerns are, I just go have a conversation and ask lots of questions. Recently, what I did was, I measure a lot of my blood parameters for last 10 years. So I just, upload all of it to GPT and say, like, help me understand trends, what has improved over a period of time, what has not improved, what could I do about my lifestyle. It comes up with a recommendation which is honestly better than what I can get from a nutritionist or a wellness coach or whoever. Just one example on a personal front. But currently the work I'm doing at Nurix on the enterprise front, again, I'm convinced that 5-6 years from now, the companies will be unrecognizable.
Yeah.
There is, we see today, both you and I have faced in the last 10-12 years that whatever we want to do, sooner or later, it comes down to bandwidth issues. We don't have people. Now with AI agent, which can do the job as good as a human, I think very soon better than what human can do. And there is no limit, if you can hire 100 AI agents, 1,000 AI agents, 10,000 AI agents, not expensive. What will you do with that? All this abundance of intelligence that's available to work in the company. I don't think, we really started to think very deeply. I know, like we've been discussing, for last many months among the leadership team, and maybe you can share some of the initiatives. At least we have started to double down at Cult to really transform the company to be truly AI first company.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you did mention is, working on creating this kind of health coach. The beautiful thing about AI is it's not just going to be a conduit for information. It's not just, okay, what is this? And it gets it back, right? It can play the role of a motivator.
Yeah.
It can use the right language, the right voice, the right tone. It can understand your personality and accordingly tailor the kind of recommendations it's giving. So that's one thing. We have a huge workforce of trainers and center managers who on a daily basis are serving customers, and ultimately they are the ones that are delivering the value of the product to customers. So we're building a lot of tools where we can make their life easier. Can they call in to a service that helps them with information about the gym, about how they can pitch to customers, live evaluate how they're doing with their work and give them feedback, etc. That's another piece. Just gym management overall is also an area. This, it looks like just a space with machines, but there's plenty of work that goes in the back end to maintain a standard level of experience, temperature, humidity, gym opening at the, like clockwork at the same time, closing at the same time, etc. So all of that, I think we see a big opportunity in how it can, it can be, automated is, I think, a really old word now with AI, but it can be just done more intelligently. So honestly, I think we are also in that phase where, we are trying to just create this high sense of urgency around AI. It is something that, like you said, it's not a disruptor. It's just a new way of doing everything. Everything from just meetings in the office to ultimately, what customers see can change in a big way. And yeah, we're fortunate to have obviously a founder of an AI company guiding us. But I think it's something that all leaders today have to sit up and take notice. This could be defining. If you are slow to the race, what you've done in your career so far could all be turned to naught, and somebody else could get a 10-year head start on you just because they're acting more proactively right now.
Right. And this will require people to almost develop a new way of thinking about things, because leadership in mostly and strategy has been about thinking within constraints.
Yeah.
There are constraints you want to optimize. There are certain trade-offs. You over-index a certain vector, and people who are who have done well, become good at doing that.
Yeah.
But in this case, in the at least the availability of cheap intelligence, there is no constraint.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think about that? There is, as I said, you can have as much intelligence deployed, as much your imagination and ability to apply that to real world. And I think change management is also probably, again, in most companies, Cult is also a reasonably large company.
Yeah.
We are still, growing at a pretty healthy, click of 30-35%, but that is not, 300%. So in some ways, we start thinking somewhat incrementally. It's like linear extrapolation, and just thinking in a very different way where pretty much anything is possible.
Yeah.
It'll require, and how do you change for that? If like both you and I know, if you grow 100%, everything will fall apart.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. But how do we adjust for a world? Maybe it is possible to grow 100%, and maybe for Cult, given that we still have physical footprint, maybe not, but there are companies who have much lesser physical footprint.
Yeah.
The whole change management around AI, I think itself is going to be a very powerful leadership skill that people have to really embrace.
Absolutely. And what I have noticed is when someone actually sees something live in practice is when the aha moment really happens, right? So I think it has to start with, some magic that some engineers develop quietly in the back and just demo it to the whole company. And I think that will be the first eye-opening moment. I think AI also has a tendency to create some insecurities, right? Like today, I think people, you think AI, you think job loss. The other insecurity it is creating is that you feel that it is a leveler right now, right? Like my 15 years of experience doing something was worth more pre-AI than it is post-AI. So you have to embrace that. Like it is not, things like, tribal knowledge, I have been there, done that, are going to mean less than what they did before. Right. So it's going to need a big mindset shift. I mean, these are, regardless of how goal-oriented you are as a professional, your self-insecurities will always take over. So if you think, okay, AI adoption is going to make me less valuable as a professional, it's going to be a problem. If you think that, hey, if I talk too much about AI in the company, people are going to get spooked that they're going to lose their job. That mindset is, I think, what first you have to break, and then create some real, real magical things that you can show to your employees that, hey, this is what is possible. And I think that's where I think the technology leaders in the companies right now, along with the senior management, have to really it's again one of those things that you can go and shout from the rooftops. You can just keep doing town halls and keep reiterating it, but those will just hit blind spots soon. So I think focusing on getting some high quality demos out is what we're trying to do in Cult, and I think that's what most companies right now should be doing. The beautiful thing is it's cheap. It's not like it takes some millions of dollars of investment, right? It actually reduces your need for engineers. It makes code writing faster. It just makes production faster. So I think just getting some good quality demos out would be, I think, first port of call.
Yeah, one of the tools I'm excited about that we are building in Cult is this, kind of Oracle-like AI agent which is present in every meeting, and you can ask any question.
Yeah.
I think V1, what I envision is that, sometime today I struggle that we are discussing something and we want to get access to certain data, format a certain way, and the data is not available.
Yeah.
So the conversation which can be informed by data analysis becomes more opinion, perception driven.
Correct.
So just imagine having that, agent always available in every meeting. You can ask any question about really big picture, starting with, where do you think fitness is going to be in the world in 10 years from now, to, what was the footfall for dance class at our HSR layout, 19 Main Center at 8 a.m.
Correct.
And the rating of that, right? Or show me the performance of this particular trainer over last and whatnot. And I think you extrapolate from that to any company. I feel this is a absolute must-have. Every company should think about having this tool available in every meeting.
Yeah.
So that meetings are informed by as much context as possible, as much synthesized analysis of what has happened, and the quality of dialogue will go up so much better. And this, I think, is just V1. I think V2, I hope, there is this voice AI agent listening, and we say, look, hey, I want this analysis. And I want to immediately, either plot it and project on a screen. So we literally start to look like Minority Report and so on. And this is not science fiction. I hope, we should have it in 6 months or less.
Yeah.
You demand something and let it create a chart and project, maybe even create a dynamic video or animation, and the quality of conversation we can have about what's going on in business is going to be dramatic. I think one of the things I've been doing in this podcast is actually bring some AI here. So let's just, let's just ask GPT something and see how it can assist our conversation. Usually it does a pretty good job. Let's see, but it's also moody. See, I am Mukesh Bansal. I am founder of Cult, and with me I have my friend Naresh, who is currently CEO of Cult. We have worked together for last 12 years. We are doing a podcast shoot. One of the things I would like to ask Naresh about, what can Cult do better as a fitness company over the next few years? Can you, based on your understanding of where Cult is at, just share some of the suggestions of what can we do better? And maybe if you have a question for Naresh.
That sounds like such a cool conversation. Naresh, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. It's always interesting to see how a company can evolve and grow, especially in the fitness space. If there's something you're curious about or something you want to dive deeper into, let me know.
No, do you have any question for Naresh? From what can Cult do to become better, your recommendations, or a question you think Naresh can answer about Cult, fun, interesting question about what we are doing in fitness?
Oh, absolutely. One question that could be interesting for Naresh is how Cult is planning to integrate new technology or trends like wearable fitness tech or AI-driven fitness plans to keep members engaged. And also maybe what are some of the challenges he sees in the fitness industry right now that Cult could turn into opportunities?
Okay, nice. Why don't you answer? That's a good question.
Yeah, I think asked and answered, right? I think AI fitness coach is something that we are most certainly working on. I think, again, I see it playing both the role of information giver as well as motivator, which is, I think, a super important part of just any health journey. In terms of what challenges I see, I think, the standard challenge in fitness is always going to be how do you get just locations at scale. We are a company that's pretty well penetrated in the top 3 or 4 cities. As we go into multiple more cities, how do you firstly keep attention on so many different cities in the country, and how do you maintain the same level of rigor on getting the right location, understanding the market very deeply? Again, I think that's a place where AI is already changing the game. I think there are tools available these days which will tell you exactly how many people live in a certain vicinity, what income brackets they're in, what are traffic patterns, what is the visibility of a certain certain shop, etc. So I think that will be, I think for me, always be the number one challenge. If you asked me 4 or 5 years ago, I would have also said maintaining quality and customer experience. But I think at 700 we have demonstrated that. I don't worry too much about 700 going to 2,000, 3,000 and us being able to maintain quality. What I do worry about is, as Cult expands from being a 3 to 4 city business, are we able to just execute as sharply across all of these cities as we do here? And there's always new nuances to learn, new customer insights to learn whenever we go into any new market, and can we be as precise about it and as well execute as well as we have done in the top few cities is probably the one thing. The opportunity there is, I think fitness can grow faster if these cities are well served by a top brand. I've seen it numerous times in cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Delhi that there are for sure more gym goers in HSR layout today than there were 10 years ago. There is no two ways about it. There are 3x the number of gyms in HSR layout than there were pre-Cult. So I think the opportunity there is to really accelerate fitness growth in the country by reaching a lot more customers than just today the metros are able to allow us.
Yeah. So today, we have, I think, 750 centers or so footprint, and mostly in big cities, some long tail as well. Why don't you talk about, just Bangalore penetration, because that's pretty eye-opening. I think most people don't realize that we're probably the largest retail chain in Bangalore when it comes to number of outlets.
Yeah.
Want to share some?
Yeah, we have about 250 gyms in Bangalore, which is honestly, anyone I say give this number to, the jaw drops. They're like 250. That's insane. I'm really proud of Bangalore. I believe Bangalore is the fitness and sports capital of the country. It's not just fitness. Even sports facilities wise, Bangalore is number one. There are most number of badminton courts, the most number of swimming pools, organized sports facilities like CSE, Lakshan. So Bangalore is firstly, I think, culturally probably the most advanced city in the country when it comes to fitness and sports. What we've been able to successfully do, of course, we were conceived here. We started all of our operations here. So obviously we have a head start. But Bangalore, first of all, offers very favorable commercial rents, which is what I love about Bangalore. Unit economics, easy to do. It's a very multicultural city now with the boom of startups and IT. You just get a lot of people from different parts of the country settling in Bangalore at one time. So for a lot of people, coming to Cult is a way of meeting new people. It is the thing that introduces them to a lot of new people. It's their people tend to move for their job here and pretty soon join Cult. So that's another unique thing about Bangalore. You see a lot of markets in different parts of the country where very homogeneous type of people come. Here, if you go to a cult center, there's firstly, other than English and Hindi, there is no one common language that you can speak. So I think just Bangalore is, for me, the penetration in Bangalore is about 4.5 to 5%. So look at 0.6% pan-India, look at 4.5-5% in Bangalore, right? So, and that's not very large. My calculation says New York City is 30-35% gym penetration. So Bangalore can totally get there. It has all the makings for it. There's a lot of development happening on the peripheries. So I don't think 250 is constrained. We can go higher. As you pointed out very aptly, our gyms are crowded, so we can open more gyms. I think just Bangalore is, I think, for me, perfect as a city to start your fitness journey in, and we're seeing that many.
So which is excellent for Bangalore, excellent for Cult as well. And I think our footprint can easily double here in next 3-4 years. But going back to this now, we are currently opening about 200 centers a year. Over 5-6 years, that will take us to 2,000 centers.
Yeah.
Again, which is good for for Cult. I think that will translate into almost 2 million subscribers and so on. Meaningful size business. But I guess it's very tiny in the overall scheme of things. If you could just speculate, right now, I know this something we don't discuss in the company strategy. But if you were to say 2,000 is not enough, we want to have gun for 10,000 centers. What, according to you, needs to happen? Like, where do we need to start to have a really credible plan? And I don't know, maybe 5 years is too aggressive. Maybe 10 years. Let's say 10,000 centers in 10 years.
Yeah.
Going back to our earlier numbers, that will still translate to 10 million users. And if Cult has 10 million, maybe the country may have 30-40 million. That's still very tiny when the population is. We would add more people by the time anyway.
Yeah.
With the rate of the population growth is still going on.
Yeah.
How should we think about, like really think about what will it take for India to have 10,000 center footprint?
Yeah, I think few axes, right? I think one is, what is the long pole in opening 10,000 gyms? It's capital, it's time, finding the right locations, and it takes a good 3 to 4 months after that. How can this whole thing be disrupted? We just spoke about the AI coach. Right? Firstly, I mean, being fit does not necessarily mean going to a gym.
Yeah, that's right.
We need to recognize that. Today, our business model depends on that, but I don't think being fit in India needs to be constrained to, okay, there is a space that we want a lot of people to come to, right? So the AI coach, for example, can we take fitness to people? Apartment complexes, I mean, they are booming. Most of them have a gym, just runs empty, not well managed. How can Cult, partner with many developers to really, start a gym from day one, right? That's one axis. Corporates, again, you have the attention of your employees for 8 to 10 hours in the day. You have a lot of influence. Can corporates recognize that you are one of the big actors in the entire health and wellness journey of India? Government, again, keep saying this, but there are plenty of things that the government can do to accelerate fitness, and it goes beyond just PM, of course, like promoting yoga. I think it has to be through the chain, like be given as a real mandate to various state governments, etc. So, and I mean, I do believe this. It's not probably something that our investors want to hear, but competition. I mean, we do need to see players enter the market.
But I really hope this section of the podcast reaches more of the policymakers, politicians, anyone who's interested in health and wellness.
Yeah.
There is a lot of discussion about health, but when people talk about health, they talk about shortage of doctors, nurses, hospitals, hospital beds. It's fine, that infrastructure is needed, but this is needed more so.
Absolutely.
Like, good health is preferable over surgery or spending a month in hospital any given day. People really, really, really need to take this seriously, that while fitness infrastructure is going at some pace, all the bad things about lifestyle are growing at much faster pace.
Absolutely.
Availability of junk food, sedentary lifestyle, social media addiction, just continuous content consumption, pollution, bad air, and so on.
Absolutely.
And as a result, all the lifestyle disease numbers are just continuously on the rise.
Yeah.
So like anyone who is well-meaning, really cares about, bright future for the country, especially for younger people coming up now, has to take this dimension seriously.
Yeah.
And I think this is also somewhat related to what you were saying. Fitness is obviously not gym. So let's talk about that. In general, for anyone, who has some interest in active lifestyle, like forgetting gym for a second, what do you think, or what are all the other avenues one should consider?
Yeah, I think walking on a daily basis, right? Not, not designing your offices in a way where, you have to sit at one desk and keep working on one laptop. That is a big factor. The way our Cult office is designed, I steadfastly hit 10,000 steps every day without trying. It's not like I'm forcing myself to go out for a walk or anything like that. I'm just walking between meeting rooms because there is no fixed space where anyone works.
You disable the elevator also, so never has to walk.
I think so as well. Yeah, I think we should. I mean, anyway, the number of people in the elevator, anyway, you don't get the elevator when you want it. So I think, walking is important. Sleep is so important, right? I think when you're young, you have a tendency, and I used to be a very late sleeper back in the day. And then as I grew older, I could see the direct correlation between sleep and recovery, right? Like if just going to a football game in the evening on good 7-8 hours of sleep versus patchy sleep, quality of sleep. I don't think I consciously thought about quality of sleep. I just thought sleep equals number of hours you slept. The quality of sleep is so important. Nutrition, of course. So I think the word active lifestyle is super important. I think the gyms can be intimidating, and it can be something that puts off a large number of people. And you may think, okay, this is this 1 hour in the day that I'm dedicating to fitness, and the other 23 hours, I can do whatever else I want. I think it's not the case. You can do a lot in the 23 hours and not even need that 1 hour in the gym, right? So I think just enough tools available, enough trackers available right now where you can just do micro changes to your daily habits and see a lot of benefit. And I think that
Let's talk about some of the newer trends also. I think a lot of these long distance running groups, etc., are growing in the country.
Yeah.
These obstacle course type of games. I know, like we had very successful Cult Unbound event recently.
Yeah.
High Rocks, came from nowhere.
Absolutely.
And is extremely popular. What role do you think these community-oriented activities have?
Massive role. So I mean, it would, without question, marathons have changed. Running in the world and in India, right? And the beautiful thing about a marathon is that you have your own goal. It's not really a race. A 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a full marathon. Doing a full marathon in 4 hours is like the pinnacle, but doing it in 4 hours, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, also very commendable. So I think those events have led to a big change in culture in running, right? And fitness has never had that. The activities are quite fun as well. You do a wide range of things from running.
Give a sense of, like, a lot of people might not have heard about High Rocks.
Yeah.
What exactly what happens if you visualize the day?
So High Rocks is it's a circuit. There are about 10 different stations which you have to go through. So the stations could look like this. You start with a run of maybe 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. Then you get to a station where you probably do a shoulder press or something else. You do a certain number of repetitions of a certain weight. Then you move on to a next station where you probably do X number of burpees or X number of jumping jacks or jumping on a block. Then you move to another station where you flip a tire an X number of times. So there's a bunch of different stations like this, and it's you have to do it a certain number of times and at a certain weight at each station, right? So it's quite attritional. I mean, it's tough because your body is getting no rest. It's not like any workout you probably would have done in the gym. You need to be able to do a variety of movements. So you have to have full body fitness, and you have to have your muscles, your cardiovascular ability. Everything needs to be trained and needs to be strong, and and you're doing it in a group. So again, you keep seeing people at different stations. They're struggling, they're taking breaks, they're taking sips of water. There's somebody at each station motivating them. So that makes you feel good as well. In the end, it's a timed thing. You have to complete it. There's no specific amount of time you need to complete it in, but the time becomes your marker. And being able to do it in a certain time, gives you whatever bragging rights, and doing it better the next time makes it better, etc. It's typically an indoor event, so it happens in like a big kind of auditorium, and there are a lot of people around usually cheering you on as you do it. It just makes for a great spectacle, even for a viewer and for someone who's participating. It's again, a marathon is doing the same thing for like 2 hours. Here you're doing different things. Some you may ace, some you may struggle at. So it's very engaging. I think I would encourage people to watch videos of either Cult Unbound or High Rocks. People usually have a smile while doing it. That's the best part. It doesn't feel like drudgery because it's fun. You overcome one challenge and then the next one is in front of you. Then you get past that and then the next one. It's super fun. I think I did it for the first time in Unbound, and then I went and saw High Rocks live. And for me, it was like, this beats any marathon. This is what I'm going to train for now.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, maybe. I hope in the coming years these formats also take off and create this whole community participation around this. The idea of everyday fitness.
Yeah.
Let's Naresh also talk about trainers. Now, a lot of what we do at Cult, whether in gym or group classes, are very heavily powered by the trainers who come from all parts of the country.
Yeah.
And in some ways, the reason we've been able to scale, like there is a whole machinery to be able to get right people, train, and all of that. Just talk a little more about who are these trainers, where do they come from, what is the process for someone to become a trainer at Cult and excel in that career as a trainer here.
Absolutely. I mean, it because you set it up way back then. But like you said, our trainers come from all parts of the country. Just taking a step back, I think training before Cult was not really a profession that you would look forward to. Right? There weren't enough job opportunities to be a trainer. There weren't enough academies where you can train to become a trainer. And for the lay person, you don't really understand how you progress as a trainer. Okay, start doing training. What happens 10 years later? what happens 15 years later when my body is not capable of training anymore? What happens then, right? And I think we have to systematically address all of those issues, right? So typically, who are our trainers? I think we like to focus on, people that have represented either, their state or their district or sometimes even university at some sport, and are towards the end of their, their arc with sports, right? So they're typically early to mid 20s when the opportunity to represent the nation or to compete in the Olympics or Commonwealth Games has passed them, right? And now is the time when they are thinking, okay, the sport has gotten me here, but now I need to really think about a career and what I'm going to do for the next 20, 30 years. And we focus on those people because for them, the body is fit, the mind is fit, the discipline of training is still there. And also one of the fears that they have is that, okay, I'm going to go from being this person who was a best runner in the state to a clerk in a bank where I'm going to be told what to do. I'm hardly going to get any respect, etc. So for them, becoming a trainer is a beautiful next step because I am in front of customers, they look up to me, I am making a real difference in their lives, etc. So firstly, I think that profile of people is who we focus on. Secondly, wherever you are in the country, I think you can apply to Cult, and you can, if you sort of pass some initial parameters, we put you through a training course, right? A lot of this training can happen remotely, and for some part of the training, we fly these people down to either Bangalore or Delhi or Hyderabad, etc. So that, and typically this training involves, it's not a whole lot of science because these guys know the basics of movement, they know, form, etc. We need to teach them, just certain communication skills, how to address customers, how to command presence in a room, etc. And that's something that our training focuses a lot on. Once they complete that, they of course hit the floor, and in their early days, a lot of them shadow existing trainers or start small with smaller classes or smaller number of members. But there's a massive feedback loop that happens post that. As you as you know, all of our classes are rated by customers immediately. So there is regular feedback that flows, and we have a very set mechanism of how to transmit feedback to a trainer, right from customer feedback to what other senior trainers are observing about that trainer, what we ourselves are observing about that trainer, etc. So getting the person to learn on the job over the first, I would say, few months is I think probably the most important step here. I think finally, trainers are the product. I think there's no doubt about it. I think more than anything else, the customers are the most attached to trainers, especially dance trainers, right? Like if we change a trainer for whatever reason in any center, I mean, some of them would, I think, riots, cause riots and really be disgruntled. So I think recognizing that was, I think, the first step, that these guys are probably the most important actors in the entire system, and designing their life. The good thing is you can see progression as well. I mean, a lot of our trainers start taking classes, do that for 5 to 7 years, then go into management positions within the entire trainer ecosystem, and eventually graduate to designing the format itself one day. So I think being able to provide that kind of progression ensures at least you have a good 10-15 year career that you can look forward to. After that, there are avenues like becoming a personal trainer, opening your own gym, opening your own studio, etc. So I think really legitimizing that profession, I think, is one of the biggest contributions I think we've had to that.
This is excellent. I think I think for the first time in the country, fitness trainer at scale is a very credible job option for people, especially as you're saying, the people who pursue sports, because sometime when you are really trying to compete at national level, beyond, you are not able to pay attention to your studies, and a lot of other paths kind of get shut down. But this really opens up, and we already have many thousands of trainers, and if we really get close to the 10,000 gyms, they'll almost translate into 100,000 jobs, which is meaningful, very, very meaningful even at the country level. So hopefully we continue on that path. What about innovation and new formats? Finally I tried, the Pilates Circle offering, which is phenomenal. I was, blown away with the quality of equipment, training, ambience, and so on. So that is part of innovation charter. What are some of the other interesting thing in the works you think we'll be able to try out in terms of creating more variety and interesting things for people to try?
Yeah, I think the Hyrox thing that you mentioned, right? I think there's a real possibility of creating kind of performance centers for that, and that's the next thing that I'm exploring and I'm feeling fairly excited about. Again, it's pretty engaging because again you're going to a gym. It's kind of going to look like CrossFit, but again with a certain goal that you're kind of training for. I think that is interesting. I think there are a lot of formats. I mean, there's 100,000 varieties of yoga itself. I think that's going around the world. But I think this one is the one that I'm most excited.
What about things like gym for women only and so on? Worth considering?
Yeah, I think definitely worth considering. There are some in Hyderabad that I know, women only gyms. But I would rather create an environment in the existing gym that is conducive for women, because ultimately I think women also will tell you that we also do want to go to a gym where there are men, but I think today a lot of the gyms are intimidating or smelly or whatever it is that holds them. So I'd rather solve that problem than really focus on women only gyms. But Pilates Circle that you're going to, I think it's 80% of the members there are women. Like I don't think I've been in a class there where I've not been the only male. So I think there are formats like that I think are ripe for women to take on as well. Yeah.
Excellent. And just what are some of the next few years? What are things you are excited about? What are you looking forward to that happens in the Cult journey?
Yeah, I think not exactly in the Cult gym, but one thing I'm not sure right now whether to feel excited about it or to be fearful about it is GLP drugs. I think this is something that it's again undeniable. It is coming. I mean, we can all sit back and say, it's not good for you. The research is not sound, but either it is sound or it will get sound, right? Like it is going to happen. So I think weight loss through medicine, which was something again back then we would have thought like Minority Report. This is science fiction, is a reality. I'd love to get your thoughts about it. I think I'm not too. I don't know too much about the science. What I do know is that you do need to work out once you take a GLP drug, and which is where I think the real opportunity for gyms are, because people will take these on and hopefully that will lead them to a gym. But I don't know how you think about it.
No, I think overall the rise of GLP is very exciting. I think I'm also going to do one full episode on GLP at some point, because with so much interest and awareness is increasing, there's so much to also learn about science as well as the right way to approach it. But I want to share one interesting fact. I just found out that the very first GLPs were invented in 90s.
Okay.
And at that time, this was seen as a undesirable side effect that you lose so much weight.
Wow.
And it was mostly shelved. No one paid attention for almost 20 years.
Okay.
And only in the last decade, people started to realize the potential of weight loss and created branded drugs out of it. And now obviously this is the biggest blockbuster drug of I think last 10-15 years. It's coming to India in a big way. Everything I've seen so far, it's quite effective.
Yeah.
Like people obviously lose a lot of weight. There are few caveats. One is we still don't have very long-term studies. Most of side effects are actually positive. Your sleep improves, focus goes up, blood pressure improves, so on. So it almost seems like one of those miracle drug, everything in a box. The two things to watch out for is, one is once you start the GLP journey, you pretty much have to be on that, like statins and like metformin. So that's something people will have to really realize, because there is most people who stop taking GLP, they end up regaining most of it, sometimes even more.
Okay.
So that is one big pitfall. And second is, if you don't work out, if you're not doing strength training, then you lose weight, but that is both through fat and muscle loss, and you can become very weak and chance of getting injured. So today, every GLP prescription comes with a fitness prescription. The doctor reminds the patient multiple times that take this, you will lose weight, it's great for you, but make sure you go to the gym, make sure you work out 3 times a week. Otherwise, your chance of losing muscle is very high, which is not going to be on the whole good.
Yeah.
So from everything I've seen, I'm overall positive. I think a lot of people really struggle with it. Obesity itself leads to so many other downstream issues.
Yeah.
And here is a clinically proven solution that's available. Costs are getting faster. I think some patents are going to expire in a year or so. And costs will going to fall even more dramatically. So overall, it's very exciting, but a relative new development, and one should watch with caution.
Yeah.
So Naresh, on just a closing note, right? And I think one can say that we're still at a very nascent stage when it comes to fitness journey for the country as a whole.
Yeah.
And Cult has managed to, in last 9 years now, in a position where we're in somewhere driving the agenda for fitness in the country. There's of course a lot more we can do. We'll keep pushing ourselves. What are just some of the top of the mind things for you for next few years? To what can we do to very actively beyond what we're already doing to keep promoting this culture of fitness?
Yeah, I think obviously we've spoken about how AI can disrupt. So again, how can we break out of this? Okay, we need to go to a city, open a gym, spend time, etc. So what is a faster expansion path than what we know today? I think is one.
No, I completely agree. I think just to probably just add to that is one is just how do we just inspire a lot more people? Fitness is such an amazing thing. I've been fitness pretty much all my life. I know you've been very fit and active. So are many people. Cult. I think we're discovering the joy of being fit and how many other things become better in your life. So I think really inspiring people about it, and then continue to remove the barrier to entry, making it as easy, as welcoming as possible. Help people in habit building, which is hard, because all of us struggle building new habits. So I think if we keep doing that, overall, I think, as you were saying, globally, fitness penetration are at least in the 10 to 20% range. And given all the other aspiration India has of being a developed country by 2047 and so on, you cannot be a developed country but unfit country. You have to also simultaneously drive that journey, and I'm pretty sure Cult will play its role. Super, great talking to you, Naresh, and thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Mukesh. It was a pleasure.
At SparX, we aim to bring to you stories of exponential impact. We share in-depth analysis of what goes behind success stories. If you find our conversations interesting, you can join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to SparX on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other audio platform of your choice. If you have any suggestions on who we should invite or what topics we need to cover, just let us know in the comments. We are always listening, looking for ways to improve, and keep getting better as we go along.